Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing? Linda, Silver, hello, hello, hello. Good morning, DG. Hello, everybody. Oh, I was gonna change. How are you? How's everyone's weekend? No complaints? Hey, sometimes that's all you can ask for, right? I did like a ton of yard work on Saturday, and now my arms are, the muscles in my arms are so sore because involved like trimming hedges and stuff. So I'm like, I was like holding the thing up and using muscles in ways that I just don't do on a normal basis. Other than that, it was good. Other than that, it was good. Morning, Jeremiah. How are you doing, bud? Mondays are always, it's so interesting how Mondays, it feels like all of us just taking a little bit extra time to get going. We're a little less talkative at the start. It's really interesting. I mean, all of us, including myself. You'd think we'd feel a little more rested and ready to talk about what happened over the weekend, but nope. It's like our bodies are going, I don't want to get moving. I don't want to start paying attention to all the shit that's going on in the world. Which I get. I had to make some black coffee this morning because I'm not awake. Fair. That's fair. I can't do black coffee. I just can't. I don't know how anybody can. Don't make me adult today. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? It's crazy to me that I'm going on my trip in just a little bit over 2 weeks, I think. Is it 2 weeks? Yeah. Yeah, like 2.5 weeks. That's crazy. Watching Trump rage quit Meet the Press was fun. That was wild. That was, and what's funny, did you hear the way he was saying it? He wasn't even talking like this country, like he actually is part of this country. Still in Marietta, Georgia, watching grandkids swim practice? Hell yeah. When he was raging, he was like, your country is this, your country is that, your country. Like, it's our country. He's the president. Like, he's an American citizen too. I know being a billionaire makes it seem like you live in a completely different, like, everything, but supposedly it's your country too, Mr. President. And watching Republicans rage about mail-in ballots has also been kind of wild, because it's like, the Republicans have been bashing mail-in voting for like over 10 years now, or for about 10 years now. And you're sitting here surprised that that a majority of the people that are voting via mail are Democrats, because they're the only ones that, like, they know that mail-in ballots are okay. Like, what do you think's gonna happen when you bash mail-in ballots for 10 years? Your supporters are not going to want to use it. Democrats know it's fine, so they keep using it. So yeah, the number of Democrats voting via mail-in is going to be higher no matter what. Yeah, it's dumb. Yeah. Shocker. I'm so shocked that another reality TV star isn't gonna win. I think we're done with reality TV, people. Wasn't that long ago that Republicans loved mail-in voting. I know, Scott. It's they like it when they're winning and they hate it when they're losing. That's all. It's there's literally nothing else to it. It's good when they win, it's bad when they lose. There is unfortunately no other bit to it. I wish there was, but nope. It's just that simple now. It's a very childlike mentality. What's good for me, I like. What's bad for me, I hate. Nothing else. For everyone new that's in here, how was your weekend? Hopefully it was a good one. That's conservatism as core, though. I mean, yes, but that's also kind of human nature at its core, Silver. We tend to like things that go well for us, and we tend to dislike things that don't. It is a very special person that can look at themselves dealing with with failure in some way, shape, or form, and saying that it's good. Like, not enough people. Yes, conservatives take it to extremes. That's true. Trump walking out and his language once again to a woman raises serious questions about his mental state. Will this finally be talked about? Probably not. Probably not. Because again, in order, the second that they bring it up, the second that Republicans, the GOP, step into it, they will have to get scrutinized for choosing him in the first place, for letting it last this long, for every other mistake that has been made because they allowed him to stay in power as long as they have. So my guess is they are going to live and die by this, unfortunately. Did you see the guy who's running for Senate on the Republican side in Alaska? The person that's going up against him has the same name, and now he's blaming Democrats for it, for planting him as a Republican, someone who's running against him as a Republican. Sullivan, right? Dan Sullivan. Saw a video of him talking about it, and I was like, dude, you've got to chill out. Although I say that about a lot of people. I mean, to be fair, Linda, that's been his behavior in every interview, especially over the last couple of years. Anyone that does not praise him in any way, shape, or form, that's the problem you get when you're around the kind of yes men that he's around right now. Because he experiences no criticism whatsoever, every time he goes up against it, all he knows how to do is lash out. All he knows how to do is lash out because he has not had to really experience it. Like, he pretends like he experiences it. He doesn't. He doesn't. He never experiences it in his face. I mean, he sees it on social media all the time, but that's not the same. It does seem to be getting worse. Absolutely does. Because he's literally, he doesn't know how to handle criticism. Not that he really did ever, but now he really doesn't, because he's just got sycophant yes men in his face all the time. Hey, Eleanor. I think the hardest part about these are the things that I'm realizing more and more. The hardest part about healing through whatever comes from this administration and the realities that have been shown because of it, because this is a question that I have been struggling with. I have absolutely no desire to forgive and forget with people. But I also struggle with how to convince people to accept they're wrong or they made a mistake if they think they're going to get ostracized from society because of their choices. Like, it's like one of those things where we need their support, but I was getting pretty angry hearing other news programs hammer Dems about Plattner and moral high ground when they should have worried about that before. So, and again, Philip, I reposted a video from a guy who is also in the forces. He's a guy I watch. Let's see if I can find it. Just trying to remember his name, and then I will I'll put it up here before we go live other places, because I think it's something we need to consider, at least when we're talking about Graham Plattner. think it's this one. Is this the one? Yeah. Okay. So this guy's name is Shameless McNasty. He is a former military too. And what he said about Plattner was interesting. And I want to watch it together because, again, it was interesting.
No, he doesn't. Graham Plattner owes you jack shit.
Graham Plattner was a fucking moron. Now that I have your attention, how do I know Graham Plattner is a fucking moron? Well, Graham Plattner was an infantryman. And a Marine at that. He got that tattoo when he was a kid. You know what I almost did when I was a kid? You ever see those little diagrams on boxes that has like a little pair of scissors and a dotted line? I was this close to getting that on my neck. Cut here in Arabic. Why? Because I was a dumbass fucking kid. I was a dumbass fucking kid. I had disposable income and oh shit, we were at war. Now, I drank a lot of the fucking Kool-Aid, okay? That's common in the military when you are surrounded by the Kool-Aid and the chlorine. You're drinking it all. Which unit is the best, which branch is the best, whether it matters if you're airborne or not, if you have your Ranger tab or not, you know, all that stuff, it's pounded in your fucking head. Who's a grunt, who's a pogue, yada, yada, yada. But a lot of what's put into our head is the equivalent of a soundbite. A lot of it is bullshit. His tattoo was a young kid, and this is I can totally see this, okay? I don't really know what was going on in his head, but listening to him, I've seen this. Dumb kids getting dumb shit that turns out to be permanent, and they don't even know all the context. They don't know exactly all the shit it's tied to. I do not know all the Nazi symbology that's out there. If you follow Tiger Bomb, that's his whole thing, is decrypting shit for you guys. He got some shit. It's not like he got the swastika. It's not like he got the Confederate flag. Those are racist symbols. We know this. But there's a lot of shit out there that are racist that a lot of people don't understand. Look at the Marine Corps Scout snipers. They were hanging an American flag and a black flag with SS for Scout Sniper. Now, I'm sure some people recognized what those particular S's were and where they came from, but you're not going to tell me a bunch of black Marines said, yeah, fuck it, I'll pose with this fucking thing, and believe it meant anything to do with the Nazis. Remember, these are 19, 20 to 24, 5-year-old kids. And we're handing them high-powered rifles. We're handing them grenades. We're handing them machine guns. And we are asking them to go into that building right there. There's a squad of enemy in that building. They have fully automatic weapons, and they're waiting for you. They know you're coming. Now go handle it. Now, while I'll be the first to admit doing the infantryman's job does require some brains, it doesn't require a lot of worldly education. It requires heart, it requires grit, and it requires that knowledge that you volunteered knowing the hazards of your profession. Now go fucking handle business. Graham Plattner then went on after his life in the military to become an oyster farmer. Does that sound like somebody who is planning on ever running for higher office? So while he is not planning on running for higher office, He texts some women. I don't know what's going on in his head. And apparently, this situation with him and his wife or girls or whatever, none of that matters to me. A person's at-home dynamic doesn't matter to me. The only time that shit matters is when we're deployed, we're about to go do some deadly shit, and home dude is distracted by what's going on at home. That's not a situation that's going on right now. And from what I understand, they've already moved past that drama. Grunts, especially, one of the symptoms of PTSD is, high risk behavior, and apparently going out and getting laid as well and as often as possible with as many people as possible is considered high risk. Who'd have thought? So, and I'm more than sure that dude is dealing with PTSD. He was an infantryman. His time frame when he went over there, he saw some shit. He probably did some shit. Of all the military occupational specialties there are out there, he was combat arms, and combat arms had the highest likelihood of having to delete someone. Watch someone get deleted. That person getting deleted might have been an enemy. It might have been a friend. It might have been a woman or child that you watched it happen to. It stays with you. So, he's out misbehaving. When he's home, he's going through his shit. He's working through it. But regardless of what's going on at home, I believe truly and firmly that he's looking around him, he's seeing what's going on, and he's like, I need to fix this. Now, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But for everybody who's waiting for Jesus fucking Christ to enter his name into any one of these races, or any other person that you can think of who's perfect and has never made a mistake, who has never been unfaithful to a domestic partner in a relationship, etc., you're wasting your fucking time. You're wasting your time. And you're wasting your vote. Hillary Clinton was not a perfect candidate. And for those of us, myself included, that did not vote for her because we couldn't put our name next to her, look at what happened. For everyone that abandoned and refused to vote for Kamala Harris because she wasn't perfect, look at what happened. Refusing to vote, you're voting for the worst possible choice. And what sucks is you don't even realize how bad they're going to be until they're in that office. If we look at every person who has ever held high office, we're going to find mostly people that were imperfect, that did some shit that we might, if they did it to us, we would never talk to them. If they did it to friends of ours, we would never talk to them.
I mean, this was
Damn sure
posted
wouldn't vote
yesterday or so.
The Democrats, the liberals, the progressives, the leftists, whatever you want to call it, the people that are not Republicans, what they fucking need right now is somebody who's just as willing to put boots to asses as Donald Trump is, but for us. Someone who, like Trump, is more okay with asking forgiveness than permission. Except Trump doesn't even give a shit about forgiveness. I think Graham Plattner might be one of those. Alas, I can't vote for him. But don't let him lose this, y'all.
No.
That is, his name is Shameless McNasty. He is a guy he's a former military who I follow on TikTok. Again, I am not telling anyone, as I've said before, I'm not telling anyone who they should or shouldn't vote for. I just, I thought it was an interesting perspective that was worth seeing from someone who has lived that life. and can give us perspective. Well, and again, have the measuring stick all you want in the primaries. Past the primaries, you get two choices. You want better choices, then better people gotta put their name in the hat. And that's what's not happening. That's what's not happening. And again, the purpose of it was to not sit here and say, we need, you know, you need to start loving him because of it. Because of what this guy said, you need to start loving. No, that's not what I'm saying. That is in no way. What I'm just trying to say is, I think it's too easy to black and white on all fronts. Hey, Kelly. And we just need to be careful because, again, that's the whole purpose, right? Is to understand people's perspectives. And then when it's only two people, you make the best choice of the two people you got. Yo! I should have responded like that. How you doing, Kelly? How was your weekend? Weekend was much needed fun one. Heck yeah. Mine was a busy one in the sense of I did a lot of yard work and now my muscles are all very sore. Because sitting there like holding hedge trimmers and stuff and using muscles that like one of those like constantly holding the thing up, it always uses muscles that you're not used to using all the time. Hey, Kathy. Paxton getting nominated in my state I was floored. Again, this shows the problem of identity politics. It's not about picking the best person. It's about picking someone who you believe you know, identifies as part of your club. Hey, OC, weekend was good. How was yours? Oh, yeah. I mean, he's former military, so language is part of his thing, meme. Hey, James. Guys, remember if you're coming in on TikTok, please tap that nose. It helps push it out to more. Stock market is rolling. Okay. Most people don't own stocks. So how does that help them? Actually, we did. It's there's a reason that we have never done something stupid like what we're doing in Iran, because it's an unwinnable war. 62% of Americans do not own stocks. Of that 62%, there's a lot of people that have 401ks. That's different. Those are retirement funds, and you're assuming that people are going to be able to retire. But stocks? No. Yes, and if you can't understand the difference between a 401k and normal stocks, that's a problem. The war is not over. The war is going strong. I have a Series 7. Trust me, I understand it very well. All right, kid.
I have a Series 7.
Makes lots of money. It's costing us lots of money. It's costed us over $100 billion. No, it makes wealthy people more money. It's not making us money. Okay. Again, one is stocks that you buy and sell as you see fit. The other is retirement only. They're very different from each other. And you only get to use it when you get to retire, which for most people is probably never. And a lot of people are using their 401k, are cashing out their 401k early just to survive. The stock market is not the economy. But thanks for playing. Hey, Bonnie. The stock market doesn't help you afford to survive. No, it is not an indicator of the economy. Not anymore. Not even close. What kind of jobs were they? No, it's not. Not even close anymore. Not even a little bit. The stock market is 100% completely separated. Hey, Dina. You just like using those words.
Hey guys, if I use the word low IQ, it's gonna make me seem more like a masculine man. And that makes me feel more alpha.
No, it's not more so. The stock market used to be an indicator of the economy. No longer. And you can tell because a lot of companies that are losing cash, losing money, not making any profit are still having their stock prices go up. That's not an indication of the economy. Again, just because things are going well for you doesn't mean they're going well for everyone. All I've ever heard is the stock market is not the economy. And it's definitely not anymore. It used to be a lot closer, but It is absolutely not anymore. Hey, Siberio. Oh, I know, Silver. I know. That's life. What's life? Morning, Ghost. Uh, the fact that you are actually willing to put that into a sentence, Roll Tide Girl, shows your lack of empathy for other people. Sure, there can be a reality that some people do bad and others do good. Does not mean that we as a society should not be continuing to do everything we can to make less of a chance that people are doing bad, especially for reasons that they have no control over. People should not be doing bad because of a health problem that they have no choice over. I disagree you have empathy if you can make that statement. Hey, Aaron. Good morning. I know. Goodbye, Spencer Pratt. And good riddance. No more friggin' reality TV stars as leaders. Go do your thing somewhere else. Or Callie. Okay. Callie's got issues, but it's not because they're not voting in Republicans. Market manipulation and insider trading. Yeah. Yep. Guys, if you're ever here on TikTok, please tap that nose. Helps push it out to more people. Join the team. Share it. All that stuff. Morning, Debbie. I haven't had coffee yet, so if I'm accidentally mean, I'm sorry. I feel you. I feel you. Completely understand. What's up, Mission? Excuse me. Again. The idea that good things happen to some people and bad things happen to others obviously is always a reality. You can get cancer. That's a bad thing. That just happens. But the fact that our economy, our system is not set up to take away the chances of bad things happening to especially people that are on that aren't ultra wealthy, that's something we have control over and we can do something about. And when you suggest that because something is the way it is, that we just have to keep letting it be and not do anything to help, is just, it's wild and ridiculous. I always love how people not born here or living here have strongest opinions. Of course, because they're just saying what they were told to think. I'm almost 68 and the world at this time is the most scary I've seen in my lifetime. That's understandable. Community people can come up if they want. Morning, April. How are you doing, my friend? No, we did not. We did not win the war in Iran. We lost the second we started. Morning, Eleanor. Nope. We did not win it. We lost it. Hello. It's not a belief or not. It's a fact. We lost the second we started it. Because what he wants to do won't happen. All it's going to do is cost more money, cost more lives, and it has created a push for more people in more countries to try and do things to protect themselves. Their navy is gone. That's a fact. Actually, it's not. But your sister's job was just canceled. No FEMA funds. Again, we like to compare people's navies to ours as though those are the same thing, but they're actually not. Doesn't winning a war end the war? Yes, which is why they're trying to say it's actually over. We also were never really in a ceasefire. They're not going anywhere, Jeremiah. The economy is as horrible as ours. Well, yeah, they've been sanctioned and a bunch of other things for a long time. Israel will not. Nope. There are 93 million people in the country of Iran. What do you think they're going to do? We absolutely did start it. Keep watching news. They will. Uh-huh. Okay. Yep.
Well, one would imagine that if the war is over, somebody should tell Iran, shouldn't they? Pick up the phone call. Hey, Iran, the war's over. Didn't you know that?
I have no idea. Okay. How did we lose? Because we are fighting something that we cannot win. How did we win? There's like, they still have the nuclear material. The regime is still in place. Like everything, literally everything they said they were going, that the purpose of this war was, they failed at. Literally not one thing has been done. Just like this president hasn't done one thing that he promised when he ran for office. Prices have not gone down. Energy prices, food prices, nothing. We went to a war. Why were eggs high? Because we had a shortage of chickens in the country. Because of bird flu.
Our stated goals in going into Iran were to limit their ballistic missile system, to stop their aid to their proxies, which are Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, and to obtain the 970 pounds of enriched uranium. We have achieved exactly 0 of those goals, and we've managed to get the Straits of Hormuz closed, which was entirely predictable to anyone who knew anything about geopolitics. So I guess that would exclude our president because he was surprised that they closed the Straits of Hormuz. And as for the comment, just wait for the I country to finish off Iran, they've been fighting back and forth since the Iranian Revolution in 1979. So when are they going to finish them off? And how do they finish off a nation of 93 million people? That's one of the largest countries in that area of the world and happens to be mountainous too, which makes any type of occupation of that country impossible. So how does that actually work, Jeremiah? You haven't explained how that works.
When Russia tried to take back Afghanistan, which, by the way, one could argue it's harder to take. Well, it's not could argue. It is harder. It would be harder to take Iran than it would be to take Afghanistan, and even Russia could not take Afghanistan. So why do they think that anybody that yeah, no.
Yeah, and Iran is a much bigger country than Afghanistan, both in population and in size. You can't conquer and garrison a country of that size without millions of troops. So you would need allies. You would need to gather a coalition of the willing, and there's nobody willing. And in fact, he didn't even try, just like he didn't go to Congress, just like he didn't explain any war aims to the American people before launching kinetic warfare.
Yep.
And the result is pretty foreseeable, and that's exactly where we are today.
Yeah. And again, we can just go into a bunch of these different things. I mean, as the video that I made on TikTok this morning talks about, there's been a second case of screwworm in Texas. And we haven't had screwworm. There hasn't been a case of screwworm in this country for over 60 years because of things like USAID. Well, they got rid of USAID, which is why we're seeing cases in the United States again. And if you think beef is expensive now, if you think things that come from cows are expensive now, wait until they have to get rid of a whole herds of cattle because of screwworm. You think it's bad now? Yeah, but see, the problem is the way you get food cheaper is by importing. We're not going to be able to import anymore. It's already happening. Abbott declared the state of disaster. Oh, I know. Because and they're trying, and again, the problem is what they're going to do to try and make sure that it doesn't spread is the same way they destroyed it, got it out of the United States in the first place, which was with sterilized flies or something like that. But the problem is that's going to take time to do. And a lot can happen before that. And if we don't stop it from coming in the first place, it doesn't matter. Could it be? But see, here's the problem. It's still all supply and demand. If the supply of beef around the world goes down, prices are still going to go up. You will get more street smart as you get older. How old do you think I am, James? Like, that's just not only a dumb statement, but that you think I will get more street smart as I get older. What do you think? How much older do you think I need to get? What age? What age do you think you need to be to become street smart, in your opinion? No Kings Rally is happening June 14th. I haven't heard anything about that. The weak question of how old is he really? Yeah, Minnie. He has nothing to add, so he says he'll be smarter with age. Yeah. Yeah, I'm 47. So I don't know what age you think I need to be to become street smart, but I've been working for almost 35 years. Been working since I was 13. It ain't safe in these TikTok trenches. It is, it's never a dull moment. It's never a dull moment. Yeah, Scott, you must be the street smart one. That's the problem.
Yes, I'm quite old, so I got my. You know what? This whole you get wiser as you get older. I think that's just a bunch of bullshit too.
Of course.
They tell us all these lies. The golden years are here. Well, my next birthday will be my 70th, and I don't think sitting around going to a bunch of doctor's appointments and then you croak is my idea of the golden years. And the other thing is, oh, you get wisdom when you get older. No, you don't. Some of the most obnoxiously narrow-minded people I've ever met in my life are people my age. The one thing I will say you get as you get older, you get a little bit of perspective.
Sure.
When you get hit with a curveball, you've been hit with that same curveball before. So you know it's not going to hurt too much, and you keep your head about you a little bit more than I did, let's say, when I was in my 20s. But that's about the only advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it sucks getting old.
I mean, and again, look at our president. Guy's almost 80, and he is as idiotic and ignorant as you can possibly get. The most, and I agree with you, the most you can say about getting older is because you've potentially experienced more things. When curveballs happen, you potentially have more to pull from. No leadership in America. Where's the leadership? What do you mean? What leadership are you looking for? What again? Our country was never supposed to be one person rules everything. It was not supposed to be designed. It was designed to not be that way. The fact that one party is decided to allow that is a different problem. And again, we are in that problem because we, as voters, as citizens, are stuck, are literally stuck day in, day out in identity politics. If you say that you cannot and will not, you lost. I lost what? What did I lose? You think voting is a game? You think elections are a game? Lawrence?
Quite obviously, yes. Quite obviously, it is a game to Lawrence. By the way, I'm delighted to see Candy in chat today and Apple user. They are 78 and 72, respectively. I am not used to having people in chat who are older than me. I am delighted. Please stay.
That's awesome. How's the leadership? And again, we as voters decide who is our leadership in the primaries. And we don't vote in the primaries. I'm going to be making a graph, I need people to realize the number of voting age people there are in this country, the number of people that are registered to vote, and the number of people that actually vote in primaries. How were your choices? The ones that, what do you mean? In the primaries, a lot of them didn't win. Because people don't get out and vote. So we're stuck with the ones that the people, the small amount of people that did vote in the primaries for, we're stuck with those choices. Again, this is the part you guys don't seem to realize. You're very focused on general election and your choice between two people. And yeah, depending on who gets out and who your choices are, it could be the best of two bad choices. That happens a lot, but it happens because in general people don't get out and vote in the primaries, and the ones that do tend to be the ones that are into the identity politics even more. They're the ones that only vote because Trump tells them to, or only vote because, for whatever reason. We don't vote in the primaries when 15 to 25%, when an average of 20% of registered voters vote in primaries. How can you expect to get any change? Because most of those people are not going to be independents or people that wouldn't consider themselves part of the status quo parts of the party. Those are the people that are most likely to get out and vote in the primaries. The people that want to go back to the way things were or don't want to change much at all. What gets the change is people that want change. Because again, in the primaries especially, there are people running that are very different from any candidates we've had in my lifetime. Very different. And no, none of them are perfect. 100% true. But they are very different. Screwworm did not start in 2023. Screwworm. Anyways, if we don't get out and vote in primaries, if people that consider themselves independents don't get out and vote in primaries, nothing's ever going to change. Who says I don't have a job, Jeff? Why do people think that just because I'm on here for 2 hours that I don't do anything else in my life? Forget the fact that this is a job for a lot of people. They actually get paid a lot of money in many cases. Why do people think that someone who's on here for 2 hours Monday through Friday can't do anything else? Which is why you need to choose a party to align with until we can get our state legislatures to a point where we can add things like ranked choice voting and such and make it so the way elections work that everyone can have a chance.
You know, what's interesting, Mike, you've been talking for as long as I've been following you about ranked choice voting. And the more I think about it, there's so many things that we could change, but unfortunately that would require changing the Constitution. If you're to look at one thing and one thing only that could make things a whole lot better, it's exactly what you've been saying about ranked choice voting.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you want, in case there are people who may not know what it is in chat, nobody does a better job of explaining it than you. You want to give it a shot?
Ranked choice voting? Yeah, that's so it's so there are 2 states that do it already, Alaska and Maine. Basically, the way it works is you have a group of people, however many your state allows. Some states probably could limit things, but anyways, you have a whole list of people in a section. If there are 5 people in it, you literally rank them. Your top choice, your second choice, your third choice, your fourth choice, your fifth choice. When they add it all up, if no one hits 50%, whoever's on the bottom gets taken out. And whoever put that as their first choice, they look at their second choice and add them up. If no one's hit 50 yet, they take out the person at the bottom. And whoever put either of those 2 people as their first or second choice, they look at the second and third choice and add them up. It's like, but it could totally make it so you could vote for a. So look at like these. Look at California as a great example. There's 60 people on the governor's ballot. 60. So you knew no one was getting above 50%. It was guaranteed no one was getting above 50%. All those people at the bottom were threw away their votes. They did. It's just a reality. At most, the people at the top 10 were the only ones that had a chance, even a shot, even a smidgen of a shot. And even that wasn't guaranteed. But what if there were people that were actually at the bottom, that were farther down, that would have been really good? And you were like, oh, I'd like to vote for this person as my number 1. And then I'll vote for, you know, Steyer or Becerra as my number 2. So you still get a chance. You get more of a chance than you would. It's such a better option. It's such a better option. And it opens up this idea of different parties having a chance that they wouldn't have before.
Well, not only that, it would seem to result in candidates who, almost by definition, would be able to work across the aisle to work for the common good, because they would have to appeal to a wide branch of people.
It would.
So you're going to be electing better people, it seems to me.
It would also, it would open up the door of every state again. Every state would open up in every election, every county, every person. It would be awesome. He hasn't lost the war yet. Yes, he did. He lost it the second he started it. Again, there's a reason why we have not ever done what this president has done in Iran. It's not because they haven't talked about it or no one had the quote unquote guts to do it. It's because it was the dumbest thing any person could possibly do. And Iran has tried, the other I country has been trying to get a president to do it for a long time. And they keep saying no because they know it's not viable. And they were able to convince the dumbest president we've ever had to do it. How does LA take so long to count votes? We need same day paper ballots. We cannot take this long. When's the last time you've counted 15 million votes? The president is a chess master.
Yes, that would be the adjective I would use, chess master, no doubt about it. And let's see, the chess master began a war with 4 stated aims: to curtail Iran's ballistic missile program, to end their aid to their proxies, the Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, to obtain the 970 pounds of enriched uranium and to effectuate regime change. He has accomplished exactly 0 of those goals. 0. To call this a success is to pervert the meaning of the word success.
Oh,
the only thing we have succeeded in doing is getting the Straits of Hormuz closed, through which 20% of the world's oil and 20% of the world's natural gas flow. What a victory.
We are so far from number one now. It's laughable, Mr. Payne. Every country in the world is putting together trade deals with each other that they used to be putting together with us. They are looking for ways, they are putting through ways around us in every aspect. So it's okay to attack our soldiers. No, it's not okay to attack our soldiers. Starting a war for attacking our soldiers in a way that can't be won, then you blame the president for this, for our loss of influence in the world. Yeah, I blame this president. Yes, they are actually, Claudia. Canada, EU, South Korea, Japan, they are all making trade deals with each other to bypass what they were doing with us, to send their supplies and things to other countries. Canada has a corrupt government. It's like the pot calling the kettle black.
Well, it's a good thing ours is okay. How much money has Trump cleared this week in crypto? Just wondering.
America help other countries' economy grow. We used to. Sure. We absolutely used to. Not anymore. Not anymore. We need more Debbie Downers that will fix everything. Check the GDP. So you know that when prices go up, that also affects the GDP. We're all paying more for everything. So we need more Debbie Downers that will fix everything. So pointing out the realities is not being a Debbie Downer. The reason that we keep having to talk about this is because people aren't willing to actually accept the reality of the situation we're living in. Trying to say things are good when they're not is what's not fixing the problem. Trying to pretend that things are good when they're not. It absolutely is that bad. Over half the country is living paycheck to paycheck or worse. If you think that's good, more people are defaulting on loans, on credit cards than has in a long time, since the Great Recession at minimum. The cost of everything that we get, especially energy, is going up. The cost of food is going up. So why blame the president? Because choices that the president has made have allowed for situations like this to happen. If the reason that prices, especially energy prices, are going up is because a choice by the president caused the Strait of Hormuz to close, that is the president's fault. The president didn't make a specific law to raise the prices, but a choice he made caused it to happen.
You know, since GDP growth seems to be a thing, let's take a look at what the actual GDP growth is under Trump. In 2026, it's so far 1.6%. In 2025, it was 0.04%. 2.5%. In other words, basically flatlined. In the last 2 years of the Biden administration, in 2023, it was 2.9%. And in 2024, it was 2.8%. So Trump's doing a great job on the GDP. Under what metric?
Not to mention inflation has grown what? About 1%, 1.5% or something like that since he took office.
Yes, about 1.5% over and above what he inherited from Biden. And that does not, as of this month, even count the tariffs anymore, because inflation goes back 1 year, and 1 year ago, tariffs were already instituted. So that inflation rate is over and above the price increases we suffered under the tariffs. So it's even worse.
I'm now unemployed because the hospital I worked for laid off in rural areas.
Janie, I'm afraid that your story is going to become a story that's going to grow rather rapidly. As you well know, better than we do, these Medicaid cuts, hospitals and rural hospitals depend upon Medicaid money, and these Medicaid cuts are going to be devastating to your industry. And I know you're already a victim of that, and I'm sure you're well aware of that.
And you know, when people come in and talk to you about, oh, look how many jobs we added, what they don't tell you is what kind of jobs they are, how much those jobs actually pay. And that is something that we need to remember and keep and understand, is that is one metric of many that goes into the conversation. And the fact is I guarantee most of those jobs are lower paying jobs. And when the cost of living is continually going up.
Trigger, I didn't say Medicare cuts. I said Medicaid cuts. Two different programs.
Too many people fraud in Medicaid. Prove it. Prove it. Good morning, Ohio guy.
Well, Mike, you had on an expert who's a member of our community talking about just that issue. That's his job.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's called Captain. That's his job, is to ferret out Medicaid fraud. And he explained to us it's de minimis. It's very minimal.
Very.
The amount of fraud in the Medicaid program.
Yep. They have proofed it. No, they haven't. They've said a lot of words, but
okay, I could understand them going after fraud, but that's not what they're doing. They're just making wholesale cuts to the program.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with fraud. If you're going after fraud, you empower your inspector generals. Oh, that's right, he fired them all. But you would empower your inspector generals whose job it is to ferret out fraud. So why did he fire all the inspector generals? Secondly, they made just wholesale cuts to the Medicaid program. That's not trying to ferret out fraud. That's making cuts.
Yep. Again, they didn't make any changes to the system to try and make sure that there was less fraud and more people were covered with the money. They just cut things.
If you wanted to ferret out fraud, you would hire hundreds of more inspector generals and make that a division to go through the government to ferret out waste and abuse. And that's something I think all Americans would agree with. Nobody wants waste and abuse or fraud. Nobody wants that.
Correct.
Democrats aren't out there saying we want fraud and abuse. No, everybody wants to stop that.
And the problem is, and again, this is a problem. And if you can't understand that it's a problem, then you don't actually want to have this conversation. If your statement is, oh, Democrat state, Democrat whatever, they're the frauds, that's a dumb statement, because Democrats aren't a person. Every party has the ability to have fraud in it. I would argue that this administration and majority, if not all of the people that were put in, encompass more fraud in our government than has ever existed since the creation of this country. But it's not because they are Republicans, it's because they are people, and in this case, wealthy people, I would argue. It happens to be that, and it's because we voted for a person who is well known to dabble in fraud as president. So of course, someone who dabbles in fraud is going to put people who are frauds in place, or let people who are frauds give people who are frauds pardons.
Exactly. Take a look at the people who are getting pardoned. Besides the insurrectionists, they're mostly financial crimes people. And here's the sad part about that. They're not only being let out of jail, and they've already been found guilty and being let out of jail, but they were required to pay back the people that they defrauded. Now with a pardon, they don't even have to do that. They don't have to pay back the money that they stole. They get to keep it.
John, what are you getting at with Congressman Omar? That is a very generic question. I don't know Ilhan Omar personally. So what do you think is bad about her that you're trying to gotcha me on by whatever I say? Oh yeah, 100%, Dahlia. But still, I want to hear them say it to see if it's worth having the conversation. Because honestly, we probably can have a conversation about any representative. Because again, nobody's perfect. You have to be able to call out your own side. I don't have a side. That's the part you guys don't get. Oh my gosh. Stop it with the sides. Do you think she is part of the fraud you're talking about? Do I think she's a part of healthcare fraud? No, I don't think she's a part of healthcare fraud. I am a person that cares about all people, no matter your race, religion, gender, identity, having rights, respect, dignity, and safety. And I will support any person that I believe that aligns with that. Why not? Because there's no evidence right now.
Are you actually asking that question, John? I mean, really? There's no evidence of fraud. So you're saying because there's no evidence of fraud, there will be evidence of fraud in the future, and you know this why? Again, what evidence of fraud do you have for her, John? What evidence? What are you referring to? You keep throwing around the word fraud. I'm curious. I want to know. I'd like to know. What evidence that she's committed fraud? And by the way, to answer your next question, if it is shown that she's committed fraud, fine, prosecute her. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. It's sort of like with the Epstein files. Oh, they're going to name Democrats in that. Good. I don't care. Who's ever guilty should pay the price. Democrats, sports stars, Republicans, business leaders, doesn't matter.
I think I need to buy a new microphone stand. Just acting weird right now. I'm going to have to stand like this until I can fix it. Looks so dumb. We'll try that and see if it doesn't fall off. Can't even put a microphone together. The microphone is not the problem, Marco, but thanks for playing. Guarantee I've been streaming longer than you have. What's going on with it? I think so. There's this bar that extends. I think it moved on the inside, so it doesn't hold the way it used to. You're the problem? Got him. You're so smart.
Well, he's got you there, Mike.
You know. How can I argue with such an eloquent statement? And Philip, on the tube side, you're right. A party saying that they're worried about fraud while propping up a guy from Texas who is impeached for fraud. That is, again, I don't mind having a talk about fraud that's going on in this country, but if you're unwilling to talk about the fraud on your own side and push back against it with the same level of anything, what good's the conversation? How much of a conversation can we actually have? It's like getting on someone who was unfaithful to their significant other while being willing to vote for someone who is running for Senate in Texas, who is blatant at the exact same thing, voting for a president who has cheated on all of his wives, has made some of the most disgusting comments humanly possible on camera while being recorded. Again, you can
in addition to committing fraud himself and
Correct.
pleading guilty to it.
Correct. And again, you can sit here and say, if I have a choice between two people that feel equal, that are equal, and one I think it goes a little bit more against my morals because like you feel that's a failing, fine, make that choice, but don't like be willing to completely ignore one while screaming at the top of your lungs about the other.
And that's a good point. We have a prime example of fraud running for the Senate in Texas on the Republican ticket. His own House of Representatives voted to impeach him.
Yep. Yes, the fact that Paxton actually was chosen by Republicans is, whether they're willing to realize it or not, is is almost worse than them choosing this current president.
Or another way of looking at it, it explains quite succinctly
Why this
exactly
president won.
why this president is in there.
Yep.
Because the same people that voted for Paxton voted for Trump, and now we know how he's in there.
Hey, Carla. What's new? I mean, I think the funniest part of our conversation fully today was still the president running scared from questions in an interview over the weekend. That was still the best.
That was a bizarre tape to watch, wasn't it? I mean, not surprising, but still bizarre and shocking nevertheless.
And him saying your country. Did you notice that? He was saying your country as though he is not a part of it.
Yeah, and once again having problems with intelligent women. He has a real problem. He has a problem with women, period, but he has a real problem with intelligent women. And did you notice, I haven't heard it mentioned, but did you notice he stepped on the microphone leaving when he got up out of his chair? Well, if you go back and watch the tape, you'll hear a crunch sound under, I believe, his right foot. And then the audio was cut for the remaining 5 or 6 seconds of the tape. So he deliberately stepped and crushed on the microphone that he was holding in his hand as he was speaking to her, and then he threw it down and stepped on it.
She asked for proof, and he says, I listen to people. That's my proof. Ah! And again, for anybody who sits here and says that it's surprising that more Democrats come from mail-in voting, this administration has spent 10 years saying how horrible mail-in voting is. What's shocking about the fact that more Democrats who trust mail-in voting would use it when Republicans, because they've been told that it's not to, like, that's not surprising. That's actually...
And it wasn't that long ago that Republicans loved mail-in voting, especially in states like Florida and Arizona.
Vic says the guy who's coming in here and complaining. Do you even work? All you do is come into my live and complain. Maybe you should go work. Trump used it in Florida. How did I complain? You're complaining about what we're talking about and how we're talking about it. You're working at the moment? I doubt it. Sounds like you're talking to us. So unless talking to us is working, you're not. And again, you're welcome here. But stop whining about what we're doing just because you disagree with it. All I have to do is look. Yeah. Again, if it benefits them, it's okay. If it doesn't benefit them, it's fraud. Those are the only two choices that you got. When people win, when people he wants win, then he's all good with it. When people he wants loses, it's all fraud. There's 2 more cases and a case and a dog now. Oh, great. So 4 cases. What could go wrong with that?
Well, maybe somebody in chat knows. What are they proposing to stop it? I haven't heard that yet.
They are frauding. They had shown evidence. No. And again, is there fraud happening? Sure. That is why there were inspectors general whose job it was to catch people that did fraud. You think because someone does something fraudulent that they just need to get rid of it? Maybe life would be better if you got a job. Who says I don't have a job? What makes you think I don't have a job?
Vic, you seem to be obsessed with people's employment options. Are you like a recruiter or something?
It's 11 a.m. and you're not working. So are you saying that the entire country works 9 to 5? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Do you understand how work works? Most do LOL. Oh, well, if most do.
Vic, an inconvenient question here. Why aren't you working?
No, supposedly he is. He's
Oh,
just
you're,
not
well,
a
you're,
very,
you're getting a lot done.
he's just not a very good employee. I did more than you by 6 a.m. Yes. Yes, CV. Yes. Sure you are. I can tell you're working real hard. Oh, yeah. Marcy, they care so much about other people. So much. What they're doing every minute of the day. Who they love. They care about what's under their clothing. That's all they care about. If your life was good, you wouldn't be hosting this right now. That is the dumbest statement I have ever heard today. And I've heard some dumb statements today.
Wow, he's not only an employment recruiter, he's a life coach. Super. Man, you got it all clocked, Vic.
Ah. However old, year-old, whatever you are, I don't want to assume your gender, complaining about someone doing something on TikTok instead of working. What's funny is they think that like, why are you wearing a hat inside? Because I liked it. Why do you have a car as your picture? You think I'm going bald? I'm not going bald. I thought I would. My dad went bald really early. My brother went bald. Older brother went bald really early. I got lucky. No, I've always worn hats all the time. Just my thing. Brand new Mercedes AMG. Okay. You want me to put a picture of a brand new car up on my screen too? That is my husband going bald. I don't have a husband. I've got a wife of over 20 years and a 19-year-old daughter and a house and multiple cars. I know you guys are like obsessed with these things. Take off the hat. No. People that have been here a while have seen me with my hat off. They know I'm not going bald. I don't need to convince anything to you.
Let's see it. Oh, maybe he means your hair.
Hey, Will.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Oh, man, it's been a wild day today.
I've been watching it. I'm getting ready for a week-long trip, and I'm packing, and I've just been sitting here. Without getting into the idiocy, it just amazes me, and I know you got to feel the same way. It's like both of these topics you've got up there, the conversation going on down in the comments when we've got a second case of screwworm in the state of Texas.
We've got 4.
Yeah, fourth. It's 4. I don't think people understand what this could mean for the price of food in this country. Produce is up 44%. Overall food is up 7%. That's on top of all, I'm telling you things you already know, but for the benefit of the comments, that's on top of energy prices being up in some cases almost 100%. And, I just don't understand the inability to open up your mind. And this transcends politics, what's happening right now. And I'm pretty amazed at where some of these guys are taking the conversation, given the fact that hamburger could be at $12 a pound if this keeps going the way it is.
I mean, and again, this is the issue that we're dealing with, and I can say this is the problem with Republicans. I won't, because this is a problem to some extent across the board that we as humans struggle with. When we say something or when we support something that turns out to be wrong, people don't want to see that. They don't want to admit that. So it's better to just deflect. I mean, they're learning. Let's be fair. They're learning from this administration. What we are seeing is just an expansion of what this administration does. I mean, we were talking about the interview this weekend, and it's like that's what he does. He doesn't. If it's something he doesn't want to talk about because it involves having to potentially admit that he was wrong, I'm done with this.
Yeah, and he has such a super fit. And listen, this isn't me just saying this because I'm a Democrat. It's like he has such a superficial understanding of all topics that I think that, especially like a lot of men, and I can say that because I'm a 58-year-old white farmer. We have a tendency to get pissed when we're cornered and we know we don't have a leg to stand on. That's oftentimes why it takes us so long to apologize when we're wrong. All these other things, but I don't know. The thing we got to cling to that we've got to remember is I last week or the week before, can't remember, I was on a call where we were going through the Fox News poll results for the battleground Senate states. And say whatever you want about Fox, and there's a lot to say. They've got a really great polling department there, much to the chagrin of the White House and the president. And he has had a 37% drop in his approval rating in rural America. He's had a 36% drop in his approval rating among white rural Americans, and he's had a 14% drop in his approval rating in rural Americans that consider themselves Republicans. So
Yeah.
I think on social media, we get exposed to the loudmouths and the folks that never want to admit he's wrong.
Yep.
But in reality, to your point, it's changing out there, even where I live.
Yeah.
Now, Will Rogers, they asked him one time, they said, how do country people learn? And he said, well, sometimes they learn by reading, sometimes they learn by observation. And for the most part, they just have to pee on the electric fence for themselves.
Yep. Yeah.
And the pain's coming home to roost. So we're finally changing our mind too.
Yeah. And by the way, for anyone who's in here that doesn't follow Will, he is a great source of information when it regards to rural America, especially farming news and stuff that's going on with farmers around the country. So if you don't follow Will, make sure you go over and follow him, because he is a great resource when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. So, and I think that's the other thing that for those of you that haven't gone out and checked it out, I've literally posted hundreds of interviews with people running in state and federal positions across the country over on the tube. And one of the things that's been pretty consistent, especially with a lot of these people in rural America, is they feel like they were duped. They feel like this administration just, again, which we knew he was doing, but they're feeling it more now than ever, that they were told one thing, and then the second he went in, he went against everything he said. Now, that is what we're experiencing is a problem that is greater than just the problem we have with politicians. It's how we as Americans are interacting with politics in general in this country. We are becoming far too focused on what will immediately help us, and not actually having conversations like we're having here about what not just short term but long term can look like in this country. But they feel screwed over, and they feel totally forgotten by the people that went in there and supposedly are standing for them.
Yeah, and I think the primary reason for that is that, it was all talk in the beginning when we talked about the ramifications of the big, beautiful bill. In the beginning, it was just all talk. This is what it's going to lead to. But now those chickens are coming home to roost, and we're feeling the impact. The big, beautiful bill, it cut $137 billion just from rural healthcare. Just from rural healthcare. And that led to a doubling of premium. My insurance went from $1,600 a month to $3,200 a month. And I had to change plans. I went from a gold plan to a silver plan, so that I could still afford. I mean, because who the hell can afford $40,000 a year for insurance?
Well, and that's, and that's the problem that people don't realize, right? Especially when it comes to rural America, especially when it comes to small business owners. The reason that the Affordable Care Act was so great for what it did. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. Were there things that need to get changed on it? Absolutely. But the reason it helped is it made it possible for small business owners and rural America to get health care when it was not available in many cases.
Well, yeah, to your point, if you're self-employed like I am, and you go to get insurance, you couldn't get it before. I mean, that's the bottom line. If you had pre-existing conditions, you just couldn't get insurance. So it really limited your options in terms of, if you were a farmer or somebody in rural America, you had a septic tank, whatever it was, anything where you own your own business and, you were self-employed. But I came up because I just, here you're talking about these issues that are going to negatively impact people more than they can possibly imagine. Now, they may get this under control, right? They may get it under control. But if they don't, it's going to get really, really bad in the food supply.
Well, and
here we are some guy's asking you to take your hat off so you can prove you're not bald. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, folks. I mean, let's get our priorities straight.
Well,
you
and
know?
that's the ultimate problem too, is even if they get, because the way they got Screwworm out of the United States, 60 plus years ago, was with sterile male flies.
Yeah.
So they can use it to get rid of it right now. But the reason that for 60 years it did not get back in was because of things like USAID, which did a lot of work to help prevent it from coming. The reason we're seeing it here is because they got rid of the funding for USAID.
Yeah, we had observation posts and we had people on the ground, checking. I can't remember how they do it, but there's some way that they can capture flies and larvae to determine, what the growth rate is and where they're moving to and that kind of thing. And, again, I just encourage people. Like, I try to meet people where they are not racist and Nazis, but these people out here where I live that would give the shirt off their back for anybody, and I've seen them do it my entire life, yet they still vote for this guy. They're starting to come around. And I'm trying, even though I told my boys on election night, I guess we're all going to have to eat out of trash cans before we get it. I'm trying to have enough of an open mind and grace to let those people come back. But when I see the comments like some of those guys were making in here, like, let's just get serious for a minute, put aside the stupidity, because I don't care what your political leanings are. If food prices go up by 50, 60%, everybody's going to be hurting.
Yep. And to an extent, that's where the empathy side of it needs to come back a little bit. And again, I'm talking as a straight white Christian in America.
Yeah.
I know that I will never be able to fully understand what it's like to live in this country. I've always lived in the city or in suburbs of a city. It's where I've always lived. So I will never, at this moment, I will never understand what it's like to live in rural America. I will never understand what it's like to live in to live in this country as member of any marginalized community. These are the kind of, or a member of the LGBTQIA community, any of them. I understand that. But we need to bring the humanity side back to things. And this is both sides. We need to be able to interact. When we have conversations, we need to hear what we're saying and how it can lack humanity. Like, again, I don't have to agree with any of you. That does not mean that I want any choice that this administration or our government makes that is going to cause you to potentially lose your life. And it doesn't matter. I don't want that. I want us to get to a place where we can all thrive. And when you say things like, well, that's just the way life works. People do good and people do bad. It's like, yes. If we're talking top level statements, yeah, shitty things happen to people all the time. People get cancer. People, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I didn't do anything to cause that. I just have it. But why? Because why should something that I was not a part of, did not have any choice in the matter, wasn't a choice I made, especially that regardless, that shouldn't be a reason to not help people. But I'm just saying, when you make statements like that, you are putting everyone into the same box, when what we should be doing is saying, yeah, bad things happen. So let's do things in this country that make it so everyone can can thrive. Some of this can be avoidable. Oh, sure, of course, some of it can. But again, I will say this too. How do all of us who are older, Scott said it, we all said it today, how do we learn to not do stupid things?
I think you nailed it with the personal story aspect of it. That's what I've been trying to do. And yeah, to your point, I completely agree. I'm just telling people what I do.
Yeah.
When I say I try to give grace, I'm not telling anybody else they have to, because, there's some people that have really been hurt, not only by these policies, but by his supporters. So
Yep.
you've got to do what's right for you. There's no question about that. But I think you've really hit the nail on the head with the personal stories aspect of this, because as I go around the country and advocate for rural America, especially healthcare, I always start out by, I always start out by telling the story about my farm accident when I was 12 years old. I was out digging post holes with my grandfather on our farm, and I got my glove caught in the power takeoff shaft of our tractor, and it wrapped it around the shaft. And I spent a couple months in the hospital recovering, and several years and several surgeries. And when I tell that story and then start talking about the fact that I had to lay on the ground for 2 hours waiting for an ambulance to show up, it's really hard for somebody to then turn around and say, well, we shouldn't have healthcare in rural America, or let's fight about Trump. Because, that old grizzled farmer that voted for Trump 3 times, he starts seeing his grandkid laying out there on the ground for 2 hours or worse. And so I really think you've nailed it. If we can start talking about our personal stories, there are going to be a lot of people that disagree with us that have had the same thing happen to them, who might open up their minds to working together to find a fix for this stuff.
Yeah, because in the end, it will still all come down to relationships, and that's the one thing that we
Yeah.
all need to remind ourselves. I appreciate every one of you that come in here and are part of these conversations. These conversations are important; they need to happen. If you're willing to listen, they can give you perspectives you may never considered before. But in the
Yeah.
end, if you are someone that has lived, especially in a rural area or in a family that lives that's in a bubble, nothing I say is going to convince you to change that, unless you're willing to sit around long enough that you can learn to have that you end up having some sort of relationship, or at least acquaintance, to the point where you can learn to trust me more than you would just coming in here. I'm never going to convince you. In the end, it's only you can convince yourself. So it's like, this is why it's important that especially people like Will and others that have the ability to go out and talk to people, to do that, because in the grand scheme of things, the relationship side of things is going to change more minds than anything in the long run. I say your conversations with other people are going to change more minds than anything I could say.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Well, listen, it's great to talk to you.
Yeah.
The reason my profile keeps disappearing is my mom is calling me over and over again. So
Okay.
I'm going to get in trouble if I don't go call her back. But I usually catch your stuff on YouTube, so I'm glad I came into TikTok today and got a chance to chat with you. So
Absolutely.
keep up the good work, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Again, follow Will.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks,
see you,
guys. Bye.
Bye. I'm not lying. They lost the second they came in. Again, I know you've got this idea that because we are the most powerful, that we can do whatever they want, or because this administration says they've done all these things, that means it's true. Everything that I have seen, everything, all the information that comes out shows otherwise. So there's a reason that no president has done what this president is doing, because we cannot win. Not really.
Look, every president since 1979 has war gamed a conflict with Iran. It's what the military does. They war game conflicts with everybody. And the reason that no president has pulled the trigger is painfully obvious, because they knew the first thing Iran would do would be to use asymmetrical warfare to close down the Straits of Hormuz, and that's exactly what they did. It was entirely predictable to everybody but one person.
And no, Roro, it's not opinion. Obviously, what is subjective is what win and lose means. But the opinion of why we haven't done it before, it is not opinion. It's reality. We knew exactly why. We know exactly why we haven't done it, because we've got the people that were that were in those situations and have said why we don't do it. Oh, again, what we need to do is teach is make education fun again. That's part of the problem. Is we're still teaching like we did back when I was in school. That's not how kids learn right now. We've made education, we've made school boring as hell and seem pointless. Because in general, I mean, I've seen what my daughter got taught in a lot of her classes. A lot of it, absolutely pointless. That won't help her survive in the United States right now. It won't. And I know that I don't blame the teachers. The teachers are told what to teach. They don't get a choice in the matter. But we have to teach differently. We have to make things like learning enjoyable.
By the way, the statistics that Will was spewing out about Trump's significant loss of support in rural America are absolutely correct. That's not only in the Fox poll, that's in every other A-rated poll. And he did say that the Fox polling outfit is very good. He's right. They are. They're an A-rated pollster. What you sort of have to remember about pollsters, when you read a New York Times poll or an NBC poll or a Fox poll, they're not the ones who are doing the polls, so there's no bias. They're hiring market research companies to do it. And Fox's happens to be a very good market research company, as Siena College for the New York Times. They're another A-rated poll. Washington Post ABC poll is always good. They're A-rated as well. So, but his statistics were spot on. It has to be troubling for Republicans running in this November.
Engineering teacher at a community college. I made my own lectures so hard to make it fun too. And here's the thing. Learning by itself can be fun, especially if it's something you're interested in. I don't think that teachers by their very nature need to make it more fun. I think we need to encourage kids when they are younger to learn. Like, again, a lot of this starts when kids are younger, when there's not as much pressure on everything. We have to make the idea of learning new things something that kids want to do. And giving, this is why I say, like, let's take reading per se, for an example. I hated reading growing up. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Why did I hate it? Because the books they made us read were not interesting to me. Like, encourage kids to read the classics, quote unquote, once they like reading. When they're just starting, give them things that they like. Let them read about things that they like, that are interesting to them. Give the like that's the kind of thing that we need to start doing better, is encouraging kids to read, not encouraging kids to read not telling kids to read certain things. Like, the time I got the most reading done was, they used to do a thing when I was in elementary school where you would keep track of how long you read. They didn't care what you read. They just cared about the amount of time you read. So that was the only time I did reading. Why did I do reading then? Because I got to read the things I liked to read. But the like summer, especially like in some of the schools I went to, I had to do like summer reading, and I had to pick these books that I just absolutely hated. I don't remember any of it. I just saw my eyes going over it and I forgot it from the second it happened. Yeah. You know, cooking classes. Like this is the crazy thing. It's like we are pushing things like, and again, do I think reading is important? Do I think English is important? Do I think math is important? Do I think science is important? Do I think all of those things are important? Yes, I do. But what we don't seem to understand as a whole is, you know how you teach math? Make them cook. Make them learn construction. We did home ec. We had woodworking, metalworking, and cooking and sewing. When I was in middle school, those were my favorite classes. Those were my favorite classes. And you know what you learn that you don't realize? You do math. You do science. You do science and cooking all the time. Cooking friggin' is science. All of it. Maybe if we taught more kids how to do that, then we could see kind of where their interests are. Like, make them get them to learn things that will help them through life while also learning what they enjoy, and then encouraging that. Like when we talk about like Finland and how great their education is. Why is their education great? Because they help the kids learn about things that they're interested in. And you know what ends up happening when you give them that freedom? They end up learning so much more. It's why you got kids there that know like 6 languages, because language is a big thing for them. That they enjoy it, so they learn it. Or scientists or whatever. Like, let's spend time figuring out what these kids enjoy and encourage that, instead of this idea that they need to just know everything. And it ends up being just so boring as hell. Let's teach kids to have social interactions again. Kids aren't interested because of video games. False. I love video games. I've been playing video games my entire life. Has nothing to do with that. That's not why. That is not why. There were certain classes I did great at, and why did I do great at them? Because there were things I was interested in. And by the way, thank you, Patty, for the money gun. I appreciate you. And Scott, thanks for the hand heart. Oh, you can learn a lot from video games. How do you think I learned how to type? How do you think my typing got as good as it is? I can type over 100 words a minute. Easy, without even thinking about it. Why? There was a video game that helped teach you to type. It was great. I've learned leadership skills from video games. I played a game called World of Warcraft, and I led a raiding guild. Now I know some of you older people are like, well, I don't even know what that is. It doesn't matter. The point is I led other people to do things. It helped. There's actually books out there that talk about the leadership skills you can learn from a game, like from some of these games. Yeah, I know you're one of those that has no idea, Scott.
Yeah, you're naming all these video games, and I'm just, my eyes are
And that's
glassing
fine.
over. I have no idea.
I know there are people in here that understand what I'm saying. The point is if you do it right, you can get something out of video games. You can. I mean, how do you think they train people that fly now? A lot of the people that learn to fly are doing it on like virtual reality. You can learn, and again, part of the problem, why do people do video games instead of doing other sports? Because sports cost money. And people don't have money. because life's too expensive. We talk about this need for people to have physical social interactions with people, but people can't afford to do that. People can't even afford to go out and eat, let alone have, go to a place that gives them a social interaction. People can't afford sports. The only reason I was able to do sports growing up was because the school I went to at the time required everyone to do at least one sport in the year. People say not dating due to cost. Yes, there are no third spaces, because the third spaces that sort of exist have a cost barrier to them. They have a cost barrier to them. So what are you going to do? What's easier to do? Because if you do sports, not only do you have to pay to get into the sports, you need to pay for the equipment depending on what the sport is. You have to have transportation there, which costs money. And if you're young and your parents are working multiple jobs just to pay the bills, how are you going to get in there? So what do those kids end up doing? Wandering around and causing trouble. Well, what do you expect when we've taken away everything that they could do? Because we put no money into it. We've taken money out of everything that could give these kids direction and the ability to find something that they like to do. Because sports teach you too. Sports teach you too. They teach you a lot of stuff. They teach you how, just like you can learn from video games about how to lose, you can learn from sports how to lose. You can learn to work with people that you don't really like sometimes. Like, you can get things, but we have to we as a society need to put money into it that we're not. So what ends up happening is the only people that get to be a part of it are ones that have money in the first place. Grand Theft Auto, what can you learn? Oh my gosh, dude. If your statement is pick one thing that you don't like, that you think has no value, dude, you're missing the whole point of the conversation. That's like saying, like, we can all point out one thing somewhere that doesn't fit into the overarching statement we're making. Do I like Grand Theft Auto? No, I don't. I'm not a fan of it. So, you think all the problems we're dealing with in the world are because of Grand Theft Auto? Give me a break. There are more violent. You obviously don't remember the games we used to play growing up. Football's a violent game. Baseball can be a violent game. Hockey is definitely a violent game. What's the one that a lot of people play in Australia? Rugby, very violent game. So yeah. Boxing, MMA, yeah. Thoughts on the World Cup? I think no one in this country should go to a World Cup game.
Did you see what they're trying to do with the train travel to the World Cup games?
No.
They're, at least in the New York metropolitan area, they're canceling regular commuter trains and then charging like $100 a pop just to take the train to the World Cup. And that's over and above what it costs you to get a ticket for that.
All those sports you name make you tough. No, they don't. No, they don't. I played lacrosse, basketball, baseball, soccer, ultimate frisbee. Those games didn't make me tough. They didn't make me tough. That is such an old person way of looking at things. No offense, Scott, but that is such an old person mentality of things. Oh, these things, they make you tough. They don't.
Yeah, no offense taken. Yeah, I played football as a kid all the way through high school, and I don't think it made me tough. Got me banged up a few times, but I don't think it made me tough.
Did you not see I was joking? I did not see you were joking, and I apologize if you were. Tone does not pass through text. So I apologize. LOL in my book does not mean someone's joking. I get LOL'd about from people that aren't joking. So I apologize. But there are people that think that way, Roro. If we're being honest with ourselves, there are people that think that way. Well, let's be fair, Sub. Pain teaches you to work through pain. Women know how to work through pain. They deal with it every month. Arguably, women are better at working through pain than we are. Did he really lose the battle against Iran? I mean, again, when it comes to lose or win, what those words mean can be subjective. What he wants to get done in there, he will not be able to get done. So that is why I say he lost already. According to him, no.
Well, we haven't achieved a single one of our aims in Iran. I mean, we haven't stopped their ballistic missiles. We haven't stopped their aid to the Houthis and Hamas. We haven't gotten the 970 pounds of enriched uranium, and we sure as hell didn't effectuate regime change. So those were our goals going into the war, and we've accomplished none of them.
And I would
seems to me that we lost the war.
And arguably, I would say that we have made things worse long term, because not just Iran, but every other country has learned, because of what's going on, that the best way to prevent any country from trying to do something to you is to have a nuclear weapon. In the end, mutual destruction is the best protection that we all that every country has. Look at what North Korea. Look at North Korea. They are the epitome of it. Arguably, North Korea, even before they had a nuclear weapon, was more dangerous than Iran has ever been in terms of what they are willing to do, what I believe they're willing to do, their leadership. No one's ever considered, at least in my recollection, of doing what we're doing to Iran, to North Korea. Why? Because they gotta. How terrible is that for our takeaway? It's a horrible takeaway. It's an absolutely horrible takeaway. In a perfect world, none of us would have that. All nuclear weapons would disappear. But unfortunately, we definitely don't live in a perfect world. Think we'll ever have first contact? Ever? I mean, sure. There's always a possibility. It'd be awesome. It'd be sweet. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if the perspective that they had in Star Trek could be a reality? Because in Star Trek, for those of you that aren't Trekkies, the person that invented the warp engine, when he used it the first time, that was what showed the Vulcans that we are worth having first contact with, and the discovery on Earth of another race caused the whole world to come together and form a lasting peace. Be sick. I guess one can hope, right? Arguably I think we have caused everyone to build it. Again, we are the reason that Iran is where it is. Like, we are the reason. Roddenberry was an optimist about the future. Maybe. But here's the thing, Connor. How many people's view of AI is completely formed by what we've seen in the movies? No reality. Definitely not yet. It's all from people's imagination and what they put in the movies. Like, what's the biggest question that on people's minds when it comes to AI? Are we going to have another sky? Like, are we going to have our own Skynet? There's no reason to think that's going to happen. There's no reason to think it's not. But that is the first place everyone goes. Why? Well, because there have been far less movies out there that have shown positive AI than there are ones that show negative AI. Intelligent life is likely out there, but intelligent life that can traverse the distance. I mean, in the end, none of us will actually know. I mean, you might be right. There's a good chance you're right. The fact is the chances, at least especially where we are now, of us not being able, they would have to be severely, like, insanely more advanced to the point of having no discovery, which, again, everything we are thinking about aliens, about the future of all of these things is all based on what we've seen in AI. I mean, look at us. We're sitting here talking about what interaction with aliens would be like. Some of us are basing it off what we saw on Star Trek or all these other movies. Because in the end, we don't know. We know nothing. And it's always hilarious to me how often it just comes to my brain more and more how much fear is forming everything that we do and think. Everything. You look at every group. And again, regardless of validity, I'm just saying, you look at all of the different groups of people out there that are interacting right now. A lot of the basis of how things are happening, how these interactions are happening, are because of fear. Like, it's so fear controls every one of us so much more than we want to admit. It controls how we view people, how we interact with people, and how we see what's going on in the world around us. Fear is one heck of a substance, right? It really is. Well, I mean, and arguably it's true, right? There's a reason that these extremist sports have become such a thing.
Fear's not, I know you're getting ready to get off, but
Yeah.
fear is not only a heck of a substance, it's also a heck of a motivator. More people, I think, are motivated out of fear than are motivated out of love.
How would any multiple inefficient agencies have stopped this the same way they've stopped it for the last 60 plus years? The only reason that the only reason it came back is because they got rid of those agencies that had programs in place to stop it from getting in here. Like, there is a reason we haven't had an outbreak. Anyways, guys, thank you so much today. This was it's so funny. You can tell the weekend is always like Monday is just rough for people because it's always slow getting going on a Monday. So it was great to see it pick up. Guys, if you are over here on TikTok, make sure you follow over on the tube. I post basically every day. I didn't post this morning because I had some stuff I had to do, but I'm going to be posting a little bit. I'm posting people who are running state and federal. There's going to be a lot more state ones coming up, but around the country that just, if you have the time, especially if you're interested, especially if it's your area or you know people that live in those states, please help get their name recognition and visibility out there. That's how we can help get these people that are running grassroots campaigns that want to be held accountable through the primaries to the point where we can actually get some of the change that we want. I know we've got more primaries tomorrow. I think Nevada is one. I don't remember who else is coming up, but there's going to be a lot more stuff going on as time goes on, and we got to enjoy the next 2.5 weeks because then I'm going to be gone for a bit traveling. I'll probably go live once or twice here and there, but I also cracked the screen on my phone. So depends on whether I can get that fixed in time or not, because the crack goes right through my camera. So that'll be interesting. Anyways, tomorrow we'll be back and we will, see what crazy thing this administration does. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody. I know that it's exhausting for all of us. Staying informed is exhausting. Having some of these conversations can be exhausting. But remember, this is how we move forward. Learning, listening, and growing. It's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it. If we want real change, it's going to take all of us doing this kind of stuff. So thank you so much, everyone that was here. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the gifts. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys are amazing, just the way you are. And I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember, can you post the farmer's account link in Cord? Yes. Yes, I will. You guys are amazing, just the way you are. And I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys.